Everyone, welcome to HOA Fight Club. Today, I'd like to discuss the reason we have so many professionals that are kind of in on this. I call it the biggest scam on American homeowners in the United States. We have all these constitutional protections to make sure that everyone is protected in the United States. But when it comes to our homes and living in an HOA or condo association, those protections do not extend to those communities. And the reason these don't extend to these communities is because the government says these are a private contract. Well, kind of these are a private contract, but not all the way. These aren't a private contract because these are the municipalities that have been granted by our government to take care of our communities. So it's not like this is an option for us. We don't have an option to join these. It's not like if you sign a contract for a car or a product and you don't get what you're supposed to get from it, that you can go in and you can complain, you can make an attorney general complaint. There's something that's the state or government can do. There's nothing here. These people have given all the rights away, the rights of the government, even. The legislators have made it so the government has no power in these communities. And it's really easy to see the corruption if you're not profiting from it. So for me, it's really easy to see the corruption because I'm not making any money from it. So all my profits, if I don't have any profits, I'm a nonprofit. When people make donations, those donations go directly to the things that I do for the nonprofit. They go for FOIA requests, and it's not like it's a ton of money. But when you look at what CAI is making, on the other hand, and their profits, it makes a big difference. And I think that people need to be aware of how to look at some nonprofit things. So what I've done is I am going to show you some tax returns and why these professionals are so willing to violate the law and change the law so that profits are beneficial for them. So if you look at this, and I've just done this, I went to projects at ProPublica.org, and they have a list of all the nonprofits and what their tax returns are. So you can actually go to this site and you can pull up a tax return. Now, I just did the Falls Church one. Community Associations Institute shows that they're tax exempt. Now, why they're tax exempt, I'm not sure. It does say that they give grants and that they provide education, but my concern is they don't provide anything for free. So I have a really hard time with the whole they provide stuff. Now let's look at what they bring in. They brought in $16 million, 730,640. Their expenses were $16 million, $535 and 906 cents. So they only made $194,000 in profit. I know that 16 million, almost $17 million in homeowners, that would really help those homeowners. Now, this is just the main part of the CAI Institute. If you will scroll back a page, you'll see that that's the main community associations. Now, if you go to each state has their own chapter. So Falls Church, Freehold, New Jersey, these are $1 million a year, plus nonprofits. And so I wanted to look at what their nonprofit category is because it's talking about their education institutions and related activities. Well, the only people they educate is the professionals, and you have to pay to get their education. And then employment and job related. So they're telling the property managers and attorneys how to do their jobs, which I don't agree with all the time. I don't think those property managers are doing what's best for these communities, especially when I'm having to make demands to property managers to do their jobs for the board of directors that I'm helping now, which I do consult board of directors now. So we've had many recalls across the country. I have had at least 10. I'm advising, consulting at least 10 boards right now. And that is just a small little bit because it's going to take a long time for these boards to realize that it's the property managers that are actually causing the damages. I will be doing a kind of like an in the ring with Ray to go over different property managers and attorneys and give reviews because I think that people should know especially the board of directors, when like I have two property managers in Washington state that haven't even changed the Secretary of State filing for the new boards that are on since September. So once a new board comes on, they have to get a new Secretary of State filing so that they can take care of the association, all the business accounts and everything like that. And those property managers are blocking them from doing that because they have the password and they have all the information. So these boards sit with no access to their money, and only the property manager has that access to the money. Think about that. These property managers have way too much access. So let's go back down to this tax return and let's view the filing. I always like to know, well, we'll just go to their brief thing. Then I think that'll be easier for everybody else to understand. So contributions. So they only made $45,000 in contributions. So the donations that were made wasn't anywhere near that 16 million mark. Program services. So this is where they're making their money in their program services. This is all their probably their conferences and everything else that they hold for the professionals. They're making, I mean, $15 million in program services, investment income. So not a great investment, but they've invested their money, and they're making money, which you're not. They have sell assets. I don't know what they're selling, but net inventory sales. So they took a loss on inventory sales, it looks like, and other revenue, which I don't know what the other revenue is, $615,000. Now let's see what their people are getting paid. Well, executive compensation. Well, there's over almost $2 million. So 11% goes to their executives. Well, as an executive of a nonprofit, you shouldn't be making a ton of money. These are nonprofits for a reason. I agree there's people that needs to be running them, but why do you think those people continue running this nonprofit? This nonprofit is very lucrative. They have tons of assets. They've got $17 million worth of assets, liabilities, and all of this. I mean, it's hard to understand, but let's look at what Mr. Skiba is making from CAI. Now he's making almost $500,000 a year. That to me is a lot of money when this is the person that's directing everybody to take your homes, non-judicial foreclosures, super priority liens. That's what he's making. Plus he's making another 38,000 in bonuses or other money. Don Bauman, same thing, $250,000. Now this is just with CAI. I know Don Bauman actually also, I think, works in Washington State. That name sounds very familiar. I'm almost positive she is a Washington State person that has a practice there, or something. The name sounds familiar to me. So Matt D. Ober, I see him down here. He doesn't make any money, but I've dealt with him before. So all these people that are on this list are, just people that are, now these people aren't, it doesn't show any money coming in, but you got to think that these are these are professionals making more money on top of the money that they're already making from the homeowners. Every dime CAI brings in is from money that comes from homeowners. If the professional attorney pays a fee to CAI and that professional attorney works for a homeowners association, their money came from the homeowners association. All those homeowners associations pay for these dues. So it's a very profitable industry. And again, it's easy to see the corruption when you're not profiting from it. Unconstitutional, it would be deemed unconstitutional if it wasn't about money. These profiting nonprofits would not be where they are today. We would have constitutional protections if this wasn't such a lucrative business. This is one of the strongest lobbyists in the United States. These people are the ones that are keeping your home and your families captive. They're the ones that are advocating for you to go into foreclosure. They're advocating for fines and fees. I see in the contracts of the property managers that they get 50% of what they bring in to the association for fines and fees. That's an incentive to fine. Those attorneys get thousands of dollars. They don't fall under the consumer fair protection laws. They get to do whatever they want. That's incentive to charge further fees. No one's holding these professionals accountable, and our government is just letting it go. And you have to ask why. Well, the government is making money. When we pay our taxes, for those utilities, and the government is not using that money for our utilities because they're making us pay for those utilities again under the guise of the HOA. So we pay for our sewer lines and our gas lines and our electric lines, but we pay taxes for that to be done and taken care of and maintained by our municipalities. Now our money is not going for what it's supposed to go for. It's taxation without representation, and the government's making money from not having us as a part of the municipality by pushing these homeowners into these nonprofit corporations that have a private contract. We have a private contract with our government, and our government is supposed to take care of us, and it's called the Constitution. So I ask our government to please reconsider what you're doing and let these people be free of these unconstitutional acts and laws. All right, you guys, I'll see you on the next one.